And then we have this overlay. Okay, overlay allows you to overlaying the next video or the next image that you have on your timeline. Okay, so this is the timeline. And then we have the background. We have three background, and the one is black, another one is white, and another one is a solid color. So each of these background is literally used for when you have when you want to use a text. So you can choose the background for that particular text. Other than that, we also have transition here. Transition is quite important in terms of transiting between one idea to another idea. I will show you how to use it later. And then of course we have a logo. Logo you can create or design, but I don't particularly use any logo because you have to create a logo in order for you to include a logo, right? So anyway, so you can just ignore it if you want. So now let's start with importing all our media. Now you can see this add media sign on your top left hand side. So we want to click this. And then we want to browse the file. The files that we want to browse is the files that is inside the browser that you downloaded and unzipped previously. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to browse all my files. So my file is basically on here, right? So I'm going to import everything from the magazine, the slide and everything, right? Because these are all the images materials that we're going to use. So I'm going to just open them, right? You can see once you open it, it will automatically lay it out on your wait a minute. Okay, so it will automatically lay out in your library over here. Right, and then now we are going to add our clip, the sound clip. So I'm going to import all of my sound clip here. Okay, so we also have the sound clip here. So as you can see, if you want to know which file of which file is, you look at the extension. These are JPEGs, these are MP3, and I'm going to add another one, which is my short video. I'm going to click supermarket scene, click open. And now it's here, the supermarket scene, right?
Indeed.
Okay, now another thing that I forgot to tell you is that we have to name the title of the project. You have to give the name to this project. So I'm just going to give very simple name, visual short video. Right, okay, so that's that. Okay, now everybody, anybody has got any problem? Okay, very simple. Is it very simple? Okay, no problem. Okay, if no problem, let's continue. Okay, now first thing we're gonna do is now we are going to follow this step-by-step instruction, the workflow, right? The first thing we're gonna do is that we're gonna go and find our sound clip, right? So clip 1. Okay, this is going to be the first thing that we want to insert in our timeline. So where is the timeline? The timeline is here, right? So I am going to go and find my clip 1 video. So now how are you going to add? You can either drag it and drop it on the timeline, or you can even click this add to timeline button here, right? Now, other than adding it to the timeline, you can even delete it. Okay, if you delete it, if you accidentally delete any of the clip or any of the MP3 or any of the video or pictures, you can always add it back to the media as long as you have the original video or image or sound on your desktop. Right. So next, what we're gonna do is I'm going to add clip 1 to my timeline. Okay, so now you can see here, once you click the add button, it will automatically insert it in our timeline. Now the timeline is built accordingly. For instance, if you put pictures, so it will automatically appear pictures, and if it's video, it will automatically a video on another timeline here. But first thing, after that, you can How are you going to play this? It's very simple. It's either you click this this play button that you can see here, or what you can do is you can just click your space bar.
Organization is quite important in the study of visual
Okay.
communication.
So you can, if you want to stop it, you just click back your space bar, or you can also click the pause button here. And then this timeline, you can literally move it anywhere you want along the timeline. So you can just drag it back to the first one, the first the beginning of the timeline. Okay, now next step is we are going to insert image, right? So this is a slide one. The slide one image is basically because we have already uploaded it in our library. So we are going to go and get this slide one image, right? So I'm going to add this to timeline. You probably notice now that once you add the timeline, it will not mix with the clip, but it will automatically build another lines for that particular image, right? So here, it's very simple. You've already add your MP3, you've already add your JPEG. So what you can do is that you can try it out.
Organization is
okay, this is how you're going to see it once it's on the timeline. So for instance, let's say I wanted to shorten this clip, for instance, right? So what I can do is I can click on this on my timeline for my image, and I can drag this. You can see if you roll over to the end or to the edge of the pictures that is inside the timeline, you can drag it, right? You can drag it. This allows you to decide how many minutes or how many seconds you want it to appear on the stage, basically. So here, for instance, I have already cut short a bit of the time for my image. So therefore, if I click my space bar, okay, so you can only see it for a few seconds, and that's that, right? So setakat ini, do we have any question or not? No question. Am I going too fast or not? Am I going too fast? Okay, okay. So anyway, let's go back to my ClipChamp. Okay, now, okay, the next thing we're gonna do is we are going to add, okay, another sound clip, right? So what we're gonna do is, you probably notice now that if I were to go and find my second sound clip, right? If I click at the timeline, it will automatically add it to the timeline next to my first clip one. It will automatically add it to the next space from my first clip one MP3. Okay, so currently, for instance, now if I want to click my space bar.
Visual organization is quite important in the study of visual communication.
Okay, so here you can decide. Okay, here you can decide how do you want this image how long do you want it to appear on our on our screen here, right? So you can literally manipulate it like this. So let's say if I want it to play for 8 seconds, I'll just drag it for it to be played for 8 seconds. And apart from that, right, you probably notice another thing about this timeline or about this JPEG. Okay, you probably notice here on top of your the desk, on top of the the screen, right? You probably notice, right? You can actually change the color. So you can click it, you can see that you can actually change the color balance for that particular image, right? So let's say if you want it to, you can saturate it, you can contrast it, you can even change the color temperature accordingly lah. Okay, so if you do not want, you want it to be as normal, you can just click the reset button, or you can even choose filters. Okay, so we have quite a number of filters, and it's free. You see, there's a lot of filters that you can use.